Well, welcome. How you doing? It's Tom Patrick McAuliffe, your favorite author and man about town, here at the fireside of Uncle Tom's cabin. As you can see, I live a very rich fantasy life. Welcome to episode number 11, or almost a dozen, I think now. Um, and we had like over 100 people view or tune in this last week. I'm still learning about the algorithm and all that kinds of stuff like that there. And so bear with me, will you? I got my Merry Monarch t-shirt. Uh, those of you who have ever been to Hawaii, every spring they have the Merry Monarch Festival on the Big Island of Hawaii. And this is one of the t-shirts that we got. And it's the art of hula, the talk story with their hands and the dance and the music. It's wonderful. Sharon, actually, my wife, did some Tahitian dancing for a while. Great physical fitness stuff and a lot of fun to watch. um, we had a wonderful interview last week with Anne McNichol, and her link is in last week's show notes. She's got a brand new book coming out. This one's her memoir that's coming out in November timeframe. And looking ahead, we've got some great interviews coming up, including one later on today with Elizabeth Hunter, a top 10 New York Times, USA Today best-selling author. She's got like 50 books out, 11-time USA Today best-selling author, contemporary fantasy, paranormal, even some romance in there. And then coming up, everybody, it's the Labor Day weekend, it's fall season, getting back in the swing of things, and a lot of people finishing up their summer vacations like that. So it's been hard to get on people's schedule, but I'm really enthused, and thanks you for tuning in. We really appreciate your help and support. And if you've got some ideas for the show, books and music, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Send me an email, bookinfo@nextstopparadise.com. It'll be right down there on the bottom of the screen. Um, so looking ahead for some guests, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about the show. Yeah, this show is not about how to create a book, how to write a book, how to publish a book. There are far better experts about that than I. Um, this is more about the book. What is your next read? How did the author come up with the idea to write that book? Um, what kind of music do you like when you're listening to what kind of music do you listen to when you're reading or when you're writing? And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about, just because I love it and fairly well versed in it, we'll talk a little bit about independent publishing and for example, and I'll have guests from time to time in that regard. We're going to have Evan Gao from Story Origin. He's coming on the show. We had Donovan Neal from Agentive Press. Um, we're trying to get the authors from AI.authors to come on the show. One exciting one that's coming up here in early September is Damon Freeman. He's the creative director for Demonza advertising agency in New Zealand. But he's the guy I was telling you about that produces these great booklets about book covers. He's all about book covers and book cover design. And we've talked a little bit about that, and I'm going to wade into that controversy a little bit. But we've got the premier guy who knows stuff, and we'll address pre-built covers. We'll address um, do it yourself, what constitutes a good cover, and these fabulous, fabulous booklets that he's got that talks about the different genres. What constitutes a good genre in the mystery genre? What constitute a good book cover in the thriller genre? So that's going to be real exciting to have. We also got Veronica Roth coming on the show. She's the author of the Divergent series that were made into motion pictures. We're excited about that. We've got Flava coming in from Get Authentic Book Reviews. And we'll talk to her about, you know, what to look for as a reader when you're reading these, book reviews. What constitutes a good book? How can you read a review and know that the reviewer was on the up and up, and or that once you read the review that the book is really for you? Does that make any sense? Um, we've got the president of the Emerald Coast Writers Association coming on. We've got the president of um, Little Libraries. We're trying to get the president of Little Libraries. I'm also reaching out to my old friend Brian Meeks. He's got a wonderful book about writing book descriptions and has done a wonderful series. I guess you'd call them cozy mysteries or mysteries about a detective agency, South Beach, Brian Meeks, and SD Houston. She's got a new book coming out this fall, and we're always going to talk about the AWC Online Writers Conference. So that's kind of some of the stuff we've got coming up. And if you've got something you'd like to, have us cover on the show, or you've got a new book or a new CD coming out that you'd like to talk about, get in touch. Book info at nextstopparadise.com. Well, all right, all right. We are waiting for best-selling New York Times and USA Today best-selling author Elizabeth Hunter, who's going to come on the show and talk to us about some of her books. And I have not ordered any books yet, but I'm bet you after this interview I'm going to. In particular, she's got an urban fantasy series called Elemental Mysteries, and that features vampires. I love vampires. I always have. I mean, the cape, the outfit, the flying in the window. I dig it. And the boots. The boots are slamming. Um, but they also have a fantasy series about fallen angels called the Iron Chronicles, IRIN. Um, and then she does mysteries too. So you can tell I was up all last night. So I'm finishing up my final book of the 4-book series. The Leviathan Protocol. This one's called Mu, MU, the Enigma of Mu. It's basically about the idea of a sister continent of Atlantis, only in the Pacific, and that disappeared about the same time. So that's going to be kind of exciting. So we've got Atlantis, book number 3 of the 4-book Leviathan Protocol series, and number 5 or number 4, Mu, the Enigma. So we're going to be talking about those in the coming weeks. Those are just coming out today, by the way. Atlantis breaks today, and MU, breaks tomorrow. Well, while we're waiting for Elizabeth Hunter to join us, and hopefully she will. I know she's busy. She travels a lot. It's kind of how she comes up with all these stories. She's got like over 50 books out. Um, I mentioned Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir on the New York Times top fiction paperback thing. That's most like my, let's see if I can get that on there. Oh, there we go. Almost. Space Cowboy. I'm a space cowboy. I bet you weren't ready for that. Um, yeah, Space Cowboy. I don't know what my fascination is with the Chinese people, but we love them. And so this one is about a Chinese jet pilot who tells a bad joke to the wife of a minister, and the next morning is on a transport up to the Chinese space station, and he is exiled to space as a space miner. We want these rare earth minerals, right? They're not, we're running out. We're out. There's Greenland maybe and a few other places, mostly the bottom of the ocean. But they're also uh, looking at doing space mining. And this is kind of like what this guy is doing. He's a musician, but he's also now a miner. Uh, so let me just start you with the overture. Let me have something to drink. And yeah, hey, turn the fire over a little bit, will you? So it doesn't go out. That's good. Space Cowboy, The Way Home by Tom McAuliffe. Captain Wei Zhang of the People's Republic of China Space Command Resources Division stood at the observation port of the CV Bounty. He was staring out at the dark expanse of space. His fingers drummed lightly against the steel railing, the sound of the ship's hum filling the silence around him. The stars beyond seemed cold and indifferent to his presence. Just another drop in the endless void. He didn't care about the stars. He was thinking about the mission, about the purpose that led him to this forsaken place. It was clear he was expendable, but the new ship wasn't. He hated that thought, yet he couldn't shake it. His mission wasn't about discovery, it wasn't about exploitation, it was about money. Greedy corporations using men like him as tools to collect resources in the farthest reaches of space. And when the job was done, they'd leave him behind like they always did, no backup and no rescue. Another day in paradise, we muttered under his breath as he took a sip of his coffee. It was lukewarm and stale. The mug hadn't been washed in what felt like weeks. It tasted bitter, just like the situation. The CV Bounty, CV stands for Chinese vessel, wasn't much more than a metal hulk drifting through the vast cold emptiness of space. A ship that was state of the art, well, at least on the inside. And so was he, really, or at least the voices in his head told him so. As a jet pilot and then rocket and space ops specialist, he was the PRC's tip of the spear. He always find it kind of humorous when he would be in the offices of the PRC nuclear force, basically a group dedicated to destroying mankind if the People's Republic of China were ever attacked. And on the wall, they would have a huge sign that said, "Peace is our profession." So that's a little bit of Space Cowboy. I won't bore you more with it. Go but out. It's available now as a brand new ebook, available as a audiobook on Apple Audiobooks now, and in paperback. And so when we talk about basically what we cover here, it's basically books that you love and that you like and that you're thinking about reading. And I'm not a big fan of lists, and top 10 and all that kind of stuff, but got to do it somehow. And it's a great way to get exposed to books. So, according to the New York Times, this last Sunday, here are the top 5 books in what they call trade fiction for paperback. Number 1 was The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden. Love Arranged by Lauren Asher. I'm familiar with this next one. Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. That's most like my book, Space Cowboy, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. And another one on that top 5 list in no particular order, Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. That's the second. So she's got 2 books in the top 5 there. And then one I got for my birthday that I have not finished yet, but I highly recommend, Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little libation here. Oh, yeah. CDs. I don't know if where you are, there is a used CD place, DVD CDs, but we've got one here called Vintage Records here on the Gulf Coast. And they've got a couple of outlets, actually. Remarkable deals you can find. If you're into vinyl, you can find some great records, CDs, DVDs. So I picked up some CDs, different strokes for different folks, right? Great vocalist Josh Groban, Gems. So I'm just now getting these and listening to them. Got a copy of CCR's Legacy, Creedence Clearwater Revival. Remember them well. They've got a CD out called Legacy, and in it, it's got some interviews as well with John Fogerty and some of the band members. I got an old 2019 CD of Abbey Road, the 50th anniversary edition, came out in 2019. And it's got some remarkable remixes there. Um, uh, the George Martin, Sir George Martin, their producer, did some remixes. Some of the surviving Paul McCartney did some remixes, Ringo Starr. So that's exciting. Showing my age there a little bit, huh? Interesting one. This is When Will They Learn? It's an anthology of U.S. folk music in the early 60s from 1963 to 1969, kind of like before Dylan electrified the Newport Jazz Festival, folk jazz festival. He came out and did a set of folk music and then came back and did electric music. Pete Seeger went insane and tried to sabotage the PA system because he didn't like that amplified music. But yeah, it's called When Will They Learn? U.S. folk music from 1963, 1969. That's on Reprise. And then my hometown of the Motor City, on Paddlin' Vinyl. This is a record. There used to be, before CDs, there used to be things called records. They're black vinyl, and you put them on these things, and they went round and round. And you put a little needle on there, but Paddlin' Vinyl, which is a record company out of Detroit, came out with a Detroit Jazz Festival. That's exciting. So that's kind of what's happening there in the paperback fiction market, and some CDs. What do you like to listen to? What do you like to read? Send me an email. Yeah, send me an email. Well, unfortunately, Elizabeth Hunter couldn't be with us today. We hope to have her on a future show. She's an 11-time USA Today best-selling author, known for her contemporary fantasy and paranormal romance and mystery novels. And we'll look forward to having Elizabeth Hunter or Lizzie Hunter on the show in the near future. And our apologies. If you've got something you'd like to see on the show, or if you've got a new book coming out or a new CD, please get me in touch. And that's book info at nextstopparadise.com. Also, visit my website if you would, www.authortommcauliffe, MCAULIFFE.com, authortommcauliffe.com. Thanks again for tuning in. We really, really appreciate your help and support. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and you make it a great day.